This episode of the Out of Bounds podcast is sponsored by Fisher Skis, and you can visit them at www.fishersports.com. Hello. My name is Adam. This is the Out of Bounds podcast on the Out of Collective, and we have a wonderful episode for you today with Alex Hall, slopestyle gold medalist at Beijing 2022, and overall wonderful human being. Probably one of the most humble people that I've talked to in a very long time. I am thrilled to have had this conversation with him, and yeah, I think you guys will really enjoy this one as we go forward. So before we get into it, quite a few things going on per usual. We have a new news segment that comes out every Friday. I took last week off because when I say every Friday, I mean Fridays when we have time. That is on YouTube. You are available. It is available on YouTube. You can watch it as you are available, and as well as all the reviews we have going on. We've got a couple new video projects that are going to drop here soon, so subscribe to that stuff as much as you can. Leave us a review on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and I'm going to stop asking you for stuff momentarily here, and then you can just get into the interview. I always love talking to people like Alex, and I'm psyched to be able to do this, and it makes me feel very grateful every single time I get on the mic. So thanks to Alex, and onward. First sponsor of the day is our friends at 686. 686 makes the best technical apparel on earth for skiing and snowboarding and for just wearing around. They've kind of become this like outerwear lifestyle brand that I never really saw coming in the snow sports space. But let me tell you, the pants, I thought I had them next to me. I was going to whip them up for the camera, but they have all kinds of stuff in the lifestyle category. But obviously, we're heading into snow season. There's a ton of new stuff dropping, including this amazing Gore-Tex Pro 3-layer thermograph jacket, including this thing that Ethan's pulling up on the screen, which I like jokingly asked for, which is a exploration overall or coverall. It's basically like a suit. It's a silver microwaves of Aspen style suit made in collaboration with the wonderful people at NASA. Sorry if I'm like fumbling over stuff today. We just did 3-4 hours of recording, and I am tired. They also, for those of you that care, they have Grateful Dead collaborations, and those are what they are. So that's 686 men Sub-Zero down jacket. We all got one of those, and let me tell you, those things are fucking dope as shit. And that's it. Go to 686.com. Check out any of the amazing new products that they have on the website, including that lifestyle stuff. That Everywhere pant is the only thing that Ethan wears. I've never seen him wear a different pair of pants. If you ever see him wearing a different pair of pants that are not 686, I'll give you $10. That is my gift from me to you. So once again, 686.com. Next, we have Alpine Vans. Alpine Vans is a company out of PA that makes the best adventure vans in the entire world. They're honestly just insane. Like, they have things like external and internal gear storage, ski storage, bike storage. They have like a kitchen built into it. Like the one that I'm running right now has like stove, sink, like heated gear closet. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, your stuff's wet, you basically just throw it in the closet, hit dry. There's boot dryers as well. Like, it is like, it's the perfect, I want to commit to van life van. And Todd at alpinevans.com will hook you up big time with I had a guy like pull me over on the side of the road like the other day. Like, I was just driving. He's like walking by and he's like, dude, it's the nicest van I've ever seen in my fucking life, was exactly what he said. And I cannot agree more. Like, the things are ridiculous. I am like completely rattled. Yeah, this is basically what I got right here. Like, look at this thing. Thing is baller. Anyway, you can go to alpinevans.com and hit up my friend Todd at alpinevans.com to start the conversation. Also worth noting that it is the van that Cody Townsend runs in the 50 project, so you've seen plenty of it, and you will probably see plenty more as we go forward into the world. So thank you to our friends at Alpine Vans. And without further ado, we are going to roll right into the Alex Hall episode. If you get the opportunity, please listen to past episodes with Glenn Plake, Malou Peterson, and anyone else that you find interesting. And also check out Care Less Do More, which is the brand new show that we have with the legend that is Michelle Parker. She's killing it. She's such a good interviewer and such a good talker, and I'm psyched to hear more from her. But for now, you get more of me, and here is Alex Hall. Alex, tell people, first of all, who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then we can go on from there.
All right, I'll do a brief one here. Alex Hall. I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska, but I grew up in Switzerland from pretty much age 1 until age about 16. And then I moved to the US to go to the what's called the Winter Sports School in Park City, where like Colby Stevenson's gone there, Joss, a bunch of people. And I went there for my last 2 years of high school, and I've pretty much been living in Salt Lake ever since then. So yeah, that's kind of my upbringing. But yeah, my family still lives over in Europe, and I come visit them here in Switzerland as much as I can. So it's nice to see them every now and then. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. Been skiing my whole life. I was a weekend warrior growing up, but yeah, my parents took me every weekend, so that was dope. And then when I moved to the US, it was kind of for skiing, and that's when I started doing it like full time and kind of tried to really get into it. So yeah, that's that in a brief summary.
Now you're in it. You're about as in it as you could possibly be.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about like growing up skiing. What was the relationship like for you with skiing? Like, obviously I'm not going to go too far into like, how'd you do this and all this kind of shit, but I think it is interesting to see where people switch from like, oh, I'm going to take this serious and like make this a career, from like just casually skiing on the weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, like I grew up skiing. Like my dad and mom were super into skiing. My dad especially, like he grew up. My dad's actually from Salt Lake, so he grew up in Salt Lake City and like has always been crazy into skiing. Him and his friends are like OG hot doggers. Like there's some dope vids of my dad just like getting it back in the the 70s, like when he was like in his late teens and like early 20s. So I like used to see like home movies of him getting it with his homies, and that really inspired me to like kind of become more of a freestyle skier. Whereas first, like I started just with regular skiing and then got more into like doing tricks and stuff when I was probably, I don't know, like 10 or 11. I think like my first backy was like when I was 10 or something. But yeah, like I lived pretty close to the mountains. I grew up in Zurich,
Yep.
kind of near Zurich. So on the outskirts, I was like on the closer side of the mountains. So it was maybe like a 45-minute drive to like some of the closer resorts. So my parents would always take me on weekends, like as much as we could go. And then when there was snow in the backyard, I'd try and like, I had a bunch of rails I'd set up like on a hill behind our house and stuff. So I'd like be shredding a lot, but definitely didn't do it a ton. And like I was doing the local Swiss circuit a bunch, just doing like some little comps, like when I was like 14, 15. And then there was kind of a point at which I felt like I was like pretty decent at it, but I knew that to try and kind of take that next step, I'd have to ski more than just weekends. So then I was kind of trying to decide between like going to sports school in Switzerland. So like a school that would allow me to ski way more than I was doing. And there was one in Switzerland where like Andre Gettley and Fabian Bush and a bunch of the Swiss skiers like all went to. So I was kind of trying to decide between that one and then a couple that I'd like heard of in the US. And since my dad was from Salt Lake, I have family like that I'd been visiting Salt Lake growing up. Like my grandparents lived there, and I had a bunch of aunts and uncles that lived there. It felt like it wasn't too far of a switch. So I kind of just like went with the move to the US because the school seemed like a better system, where the winter sports school, you can ski, you ski all winter and do school all summer. So you pretty much get to ski from November through April straight, which is pretty sick when you're like 16, 17. It's like all you want to do. And I think like that's really what helped me take that next step, is getting like that first winter I moved, I just skied so much.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think I was like 15 or 16 when I kind of realized it was something I'd really like want to pursue. Maybe like as an actual career, just try and see as far like how far I can take it.
Yeah. Did you expect to be, obviously, like, not expect to be at the exact spot that you're at now, but like, I don't know, did you expect to be able to make this a career?
I wasn't sure, honestly. Like, I knew that there was a career path in skiing. Like, obviously, like I'd like looked up to all the pros growing up and stuff. Like after I started following free skiing, I looked up to like, all the big dogs like Wallish and T Hall and like all those guys. So I knew that like being a pro skier was a thing.
Yeah.
But like where I grew up, especially like near Zurich, like all of my friends growing up, like we all skied together and stuff, but no one. It wasn't like I had a bunch of homies that were also trying to go
Mm,
like become skiers. It was just like I was kind of the lone soldier there that were like wanted to maybe become a skier. So it definitely seemed a little more far fetched, maybe.
yeah.
And like also competing or like growing up kind of further away from the mountains, like I was looking at kids like Andre and Fabian who grew up in the mountains and like got to ski every day, and they were so much like vastly better than me, like at age 13, 14, 15 and 16, that like I knew it was maybe something I could like try and get into, but I didn't know like if it would really pan out or if it was like super attainable, just because mainly just because I was a lot less good than a lot of the other kids. But yeah, I think just my parents were dope enough to allow me to come to the US and like live with a host family, and also like, it's not cheap, so they were able to pay the host family and live with them. Luckily, they were good friends of ours that I'd met a couple years earlier, so that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then I got a scholarship to go to the school. But yeah, I mean, my parents were super dope in helping me kind of just at least take the leap and see if it would go. And then pretty much like right as I was graduating high school, I was at a position where I was like getting some pretty good sponsors and stuff, so at like age kind of 17, 18, like in that range. So I like kind of knew after high school that was something I could try and kind of stick with for a couple of years.
Yeah. What? That's a big jump for a parent to just be like, yeah, like you can be a skier. Like, let's try this. Like, that's not a lot of parents have the foresight and I guess the trust in their kid that they're going to make that whole thing happen. What did they always have the confidence in it that it was like a thing worth trying, or did it take some convincing?
Nah, they were always pretty down. Like my parents are, especially my dad is super like just super chill, honestly.
Yeah.
And he was super down. I mean, he grew up in the ski, like just skiing a bunch, and like he goes skiing as much as he can. So he was already super down with skiing. But honestly, my parents have always just been super supportive and like really mellow
That's
too.
dope.
So they just saw like the passion that I had for it and like how down I was to just try and make it work, that I think they trusted me. And it wasn't like as crazy a send, I think, as it like sounds, because like I'd been to Utah like a
Right.
couple times for Christmas. Like my grandparents lived there, I had family there. So like there was some family that like could check in on me and stuff. And like
Yeah.
the family I was staying with, we'd know them for a couple years. So it was like it wasn't like that crazy of a send. And then they like came for Christmas and like it came again in the spring, so I saw them like every couple months and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think they just saw like how excited I was about the idea, and then they were just dope because they were so supportive. And then also obviously like you know trying to help me pay for it and stuff was also like a huge part of it, so that was super sweet.
Yeah. What That's got to be a weird thing too. Even if you know them a bit, like staying with a host family, I feel like that's an experience that people maybe like I know most people probably have no idea what that's like. Like one moving across like into a different country to pursue something is one thing, but then living with a family that's not like your own family that you've grown up with is also a very bizarre thing to a lot of people out there, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was, but yeah, like this family, like I'd known the kid for a while. We'd like skied actually in Europe. His dad was French, so
Okay.
we'd like skied in Europe a little bit together. And like I went to this summer camp in France, and like skied during the summer for like a couple weeks. And I met him there. And then he said he lived in PC. And then like the next summer, I went to PC and like hung out with them and stuff. And they're just super dope family. Like the dad was super chill and like a great guy. So I felt like it was just a pretty easy transition. And I don't know, like just I think I moved. So I moved over there in November, and then like pretty much started like a full ski season, and then like school wasn't starting until April. So I moved there in November, and then I was already like traveling a fair bit like
Mm.
within the country to different like a couple different comps and stuff, and just like skiing a bunch with the Park City team. That like I wasn't there the whole time. I was kind of bouncing like in and out a little bit. So I'd be there for like a couple weeks, and then I'd travel and be back. So it wasn't like full on right at the start. And then I got to know them super well.
Yeah.
And then by the time April came around and school started, like it was super mellow living with them. And yeah, the kid was a year younger than me, so he went to the school as well, the winter sports school, but he was the grade below me. And by that time, like I had a bunch of homies from the team already that also were all going to the school and stuff. So it was like a pretty like welcoming and mellow environment.
Mm. What? Let me ask you a little bit about the comp scene, because that's always the thing. I feel like you hear people talk about it all the time as like it's extremely difficult, it's extremely cutthroat, it's hard to make money in it, it's hard to be successful in it. What has your approach been to the competition aspect of things, and do you like it? Like, I mean, you're at the top level of this shit now, and like, are you still enjoying it? Because I think you see a lot of the people that you mentioned, like that you look up to, move away from that at points in their career, right? And they start to go into filming, and that's like really all they do. And then they move into the backcountry, and like you watch this progression that almost seems like it happens to people like clockwork, almost like it happens to
Yeah, yeah.
everybody. And like, I just wonder, like, how much do you enjoy the competitive aspect of it? Do you find yourself to be a competitive person? Like, I'm listening to you talk right now. It doesn't seem like you're like a cutthroat, like I gotta win type of person, but like everybody, I'm assuming, has that inside them. So tell me a little bit about the comp scene.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm not like the most competitive person. I definitely have it like inside me, but
Yeah.
overall I would consider myself pretty mellow. But I mean, I think anyone competing like at the level that we're competing at like is pretty competitive at somewhere with
Yeah.
inside. But it was sick actually. Like growing up, I feel like I'm always looking back at it. I'm always like I feel so fortunate that I grew up like doing the competition scene and getting into the scene when I did, because it was at a time where like I was right at the end of like the open comps still being around, like
Right.
the comps like Aspen Open or Euro Open or just the Dumont Cup, like those
Yeah.
were all events where like my first year or two of competing like internationally, those were like the last years of those events. So I got to like sign up and try a bunch of these open events, which was so dope because you could work your way up without a national team or like having all these points or whatever you got to do
Yeah. Yeah.
nowadays. And so I feel like that was I got super lucky because I was able to do those, and actually after the first couple seasons of doing those, I then like had a good enough ranking and kind of whatever points. They used to do a different point system back then
Yeah.
called AFP. Now they only do FIS for events. But pretty much I got into like World Cups and that whole circuit from doing open events, which was awesome because like events like Dumont Cup and Euro Open were sick because literally anyone could sign up pretty much.
Yeah.
And you didn't need like any coach or national team to travel with. So that was dope. But then, yeah, I mean, things have changed a lot. Like kids nowadays coming up, it's crazy. Like you gotta be like doing the very specific route to get into the World Cups to then, you got to work your way up so like gradually in a way, I think.
Mm.
And it's obviously, yeah, it's so expensive to travel, but um yeah, just everything's become more structured now, which I think is not as dope as kind of it was a couple years ago when you could do, you kind of pick like here and there what you wanted to do
Yeah.
in terms of comps. But yeah, I mean it's the comp schedule's definitely a grind sometimes. I think like I tried to do my best by like balancing it out with a lot of filming and just like
Yeah.
skiing for myself and like doing a lot of different aspects of skiing, like go ski some POW, go ski some street, ski some comps. And like last year was kind of a little bit of an exception because we had to do so many qualifiers leading up to the Olympics that
Right.
we were really, really busy until then. And then we spent 3 weeks in China. And then after that, it was already springtime. So that there wasn't like a ton of time left to film kind of street and POW. So we were really, really busy, which was definitely a little bit of a grind, but it's been sick. Like, especially the last year or two, traveling with just the US team has been dope because we're a bunch of homies who are the same, pretty similar age right now. And we all are like really hyped to just go out and shred. And and there's not a lot of like age gap or anything. So we have
Mm.
like very similar ways at looking at skiing and just being like stoked on things. So we were all just like beating off each other last year. And despite kind of the grind and competing so much, like it honestly was so much fun being with everybody. So that was really refreshing actually. But yeah, last time I competed like 15 times, which is a lot, which doesn't sound like that much, but it's a
No, it
lot.
sounds
Like
like a
if you,
lot, dude. That sounds like a lot.
yeah, no, yeah, it's a lot. And some of those were like not different comps, like at X Games, I competed like three different times because
Right.
I was in three different events. But yeah, 15 times, which is definitely pretty heavy. It doesn't like leave a lot of time for filming. So yeah, this year definitely trying to branch out a little more, compete a little, and then just film a lot more and even it out. I think after a big year like last year with that much competing, it just takes a toll on you, just like all the traveling so heavy and stuff that I think switching it up a little this year will definitely help like keep it refreshing and help me from keeping keeping me like just not get burned out because I think that definitely can happen to me. Some people are hyped. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of the Euro kids are just like down, like to compete the whole time and they kind of just stick with it and it's like what drives them, which is also sick, but it's different for everybody, you know. And for me, like just the comps doesn't really do it for me. So doing a little bit of everything is kind of how I stay stoked, you know. And whether that's street or pow or whatever, it kind of just depends.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that comes through in the way that you ski. And also, like, when I messaged you, I talked about that edit that you put out that level one's like touring around right now. It's like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's crazy that you have the time and you're like willing to send as hard as you are in the street. And then also, like, the Alta part that Faction just put out, like, all that shit's ridiculous. And to keep the motivation to compete, but also like have fun with skiing is pretty crazy to me. It's a different approach than a lot of people have. Some people just like need to get away from the sport entirely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm hoping that like just keeping the varieties like what's gonna keep me in it for, you know, hopefully that like that's what keeps it fun for me. And I think that's how I'm gonna stay in the sport for a longer amount of time is by exploring a lot of different aspects and just keeping it all mixed up. Cause then I think that's why you see people burn out is if they just
Totally.
go savage on the comps for like 3 or 4 years and yeah, it just kind of takes a toll on you. And I think also you realize after doing it for like too many years in a row, especially now with the World Cup schedule, where like we'll have a lot of these repeat World Cup events that feel really similar at the same locations every year. That like you do that for a couple years and you just grind them out, like you start to realize it like starts to feel like the same thing over and over again.
Mm,
To where like if I can do something different every season, whether it's a different film trip or something else, then just do like a couple comps here and there, that
yeah.
like really helps kind of I think prolong my stoke to compete.
Yeah.
Um, which is yeah, that's like hopefully the plan with this year is just compete like every now and then, but then film a lot and then like hopefully when I do come back to the comps, like between a lot of filming, like I'll be actually stoked to compete. Like I'll have a lot of
Mm,
hunger to compete and like bring a different kind of style and flavor to my competition. Whereas like last year I was kind of just hammering out comps. Not that it
yeah.
wasn't fun, it was really fun, but just it's going to be a different approach this year, which should be sick.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what that looks like for you. It's a weird thing because like in so many other sports, like the competition aspect is everything, but in skiing, it obviously things like the Olympics are at an elite level and that changes things for your career. It changes everything, but it's not everything in skiing, right? Like there's just so much more to it. And I like the idea of like switching it up and kind of bringing some fresh energy to those comps too. Cause you watch it, right? Like, and people, you're right. Like people go hard as shit in comps. Like, I don't know. I always think whenever people bring this up, I think about Dumont, right? Because like that dude was like at the top of the pipe, like bashing his head in basically like trying to get himself hyped for these things. And so much of it you look at and you're like, I think he's just forcing himself like robotically to get through these things, you know? And like just
Yeah,
so
for
locked in
sure.
that people would try to talk to him and he'd be like, fuck you. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And he said it himself. It's a crazy thing.
For sure. Yeah. And it's sick when it works for people. Like there's definitely people like that right now who are just hard, you know,
Yeah.
hardcore comp guys, which is like no disrespect to that because that takes a, you know, a ton of commitment and you got to be so on top of your game. And like especially like if you're some of those guys who are like always like all they're doing between events is like training for those events, like it's insane to keep that level of commitment like to your tricks, you know, like just grinding out just like your competitive tricks all the time is like that's pretty savage because it takes like you got to be pretty strong mentally to do that. Like I look at like Nick Gepper for example, who like
Yeah.
I feel like he catches like a lot of flame for being like whatever the comp guy, but like just watching him like the year leading up to the Olympics, like he was being so insane, just grinding every single day. Just like I'd be over like whatever doing something zooted on the rails or just like chilling so hard. And I'll show up and he'll literally like in the morning and he'll be there an hour or two before me and he'll have done like both way dub 14s like all morning,
Mm.
just grinding them out, which is insane because like I could never convince myself to do that every day, but he did it every fucking day of the winter, and then it worked out. He used like both all the tricks pretty much. He was grinding all winter. He used it as an Olympic run, and like he got another medal. So it's like pretty insane to watch it like come to fruition for him. But yeah, it's different for everybody, and I could not deal with that amount of like corking and just going that savage every day. It's insane to watch. Honestly, it's crazy.
Do you think it's frustrating for him, like to watch you not really do that, right? Like, and to just chill and like kind of like do your own thing and take your own pace, and he's like grinding soup. I always wonder, like, is that aggravating for other athletes, right? The way that you approach it, because it's different, like I said, than other sports where like, yeah, you're on a team, but you're not on a team. You know what I mean? Like it's an individual sport at the end of the day. So is there that, like, what is the relationship like when you guys are all in the gym together? You guys are all like traveling together.
I don't think I don't know. I don't think it's too much like that. Like I mean, I still go out and like I think we just all approach it differently. For him, it's going
Mm,
out and like getting reps on those insane tricks, and for me, it's going out and skiing, and maybe just doing more rails or taking a chill day every now and then. But like still, like I'm still up there skiing as much as I can. It's just taking a
yeah.
different approach, and I don't think it's aggregate. Like I don't think it makes it mad or anything.
Yeah.
I think he realizes it's just different for everybody, but also like the thing that I think so impressive about Nick and why I think like his what he does work so well for him is the fact that like yeah, maybe whatever someone could say he didn't win, but like obviously a medal's so impressive. But then I think the
Yeah.
most impressive thing is for him to do it 3 Olympics in a row,
Yeah.
like in
Over and
slope
over and over.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in slope style. I feel like that's like it's gonna be like so incredibly hard for anyone else to replicate that. I feel like to do 3 Olympics in a row, getting a medal, like that shows like the level of commitment that he's had the last like whatever 8 years, over the last 3 Olympics. Like that's what's really impressive is the consistency where someone like me, maybe I think like the consistency isn't as much there. Like you can have your really great moments and then sometimes it doesn't work out just because like I'm not getting as many reps as Nick on the things. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
as dialed at those specific tricks because I'm not getting as many reps on them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think it also allows you to be more creative, maybe because you spend your time exploring more different tricks. So it's like it's a you can it's just
It's
it's
all
like
just
a
different.
win lose. It's like not the right saying, but like you're like sacrificing one thing for another. It's either
Yeah.
consistency and like having it maybe less tricks to choose from, but you got them really dialed, or you have a little less consistency, but you have maybe more creativity or maybe a deeper bag of tricks. So then when you do get those runs, they can maybe have an even higher scoring potential,
Mm,
but you're not going to get them as frequently kind of deal. So
right.
I think, but yeah, like for Nick's mindset, the kind of person he is, like what he does works perfectly. And it's pretty impressive to watch it pay off the last couple of years or last 8 years.
Yeah, and you're right. Like and I don't even mean that in like is he aggravated or any of that shit. I just mean like I talked to David Wise like a few months ago, right? Like right pre-Olympics, and he was like, "Dude, my training right now is like robotic. I just go at it and I train as hard as I can so like my body can take the shit that I'm doing right now, and like that it just is what it is. Like I eat the way that I need to eat, I perform the way that I need to perform, and like that's what I have to do right now, and that's my approach is just like fully locked in and grind, grind, grind."
Yeah, exactly. And that's how Nick was too. And I think I would like last about 2 days if I did that.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of valid. So let me ask you on the creativity side of thing, your approach to skiing, like when you see the first thing that comes to my mind is like doing that front flip off a fucking tree in that out to edit. Like how did you even think about doing something like that when you're approaching something new? everybody always talks about being outside of the box and thinking outside of the box and creativity and whatever the fuck, but like you actually have to, like, what does that look like in your mind when you're processing that?
I think for me, what helps a ton is watching a bunch of different, like watching, I watch a ton of skiing, like as much skiing as I can. I will love watching snowboarding, and I love watching skateboarding and surfing. And I think like all these things have some parallels in some ways. And if you can like draw little bits from all these different sports, you can like use that for so much inspiration. And I think, um, I don't know, I guess for at least like talking about it in like a competitive standpoint, when I like go out and ski street for a couple months or whatever and film a lot, that allows, like when you're like in an urban environment or you're in a city and you're looking at things that aren't built for skiing, but you're trying to make them work for skiing, like that right there is going to force you to think outside the box, because you're going to have to look at something that's not built for skiing and you're going to have to ski on it. And then when I can take that knowledge from looking at, street spots that weren't created to ski on, bring it to a course and look at it in terms of a competitive aspect where they built this course, but maybe they didn't even intend something to be ridden in that way, but you can figure that out. Like that kind of translates a lot. And like a lot of the events where I've had like my best performances have been after I haven't skied any, resorts or park in weeks or months. And it's like right after a long urban trip or POW trip.
Yeah.
Just because you thinking about things in such a different light, and then that when you bring that to a competitive environment, it just kind of translates over. But in terms of the thought process, I don't even know. Honestly, I just kind of think about like what would be the most fun. Like a lot of the times I just am like fucking around kind of, and like if something seems like I would like actually enjoy it, I kind of try and do that. And in comps, it's hard, because sometimes you can't just do that because the most fun thing might not do well, like it might not score well.
Right.
But hopefully you can find that perfect balance where like you're gonna have fun doing it and it's gonna score well.
Right.
But that's like really tough to do. But like something like the front flip off the tree, that was honestly just random. Like I was just like bouncing off a tree and I was like, this would be hilarious to front out of. But it was like not a lot of thought goes into it, honestly. It kind of just happens.
You're taking what it gives you. That's hilarious to
Yeah.
look at a tree and go, yeah, front flip makes sense. Like it just,
Pretty much. I don't know. It's like I thought I think I saw a video of someone doing something similar, like on a snowboard or something.
Yeah.
In some like form, and then I was like, saw this tree, and it was like perfect to try it on, so I kind of just like went for it.
I love that. I love that whole edit, by the way. Like that's as far as team videos go, that's about as fun as you find them. Okay, so let me ask you this: what's your relationship like with the rest of the faction team? Like, are you close with everybody? It's such a like eclectic group of people. I think like where you're just everybody's so different, right? And I think everybody brings something sort of similar to the table, though, but all from different backgrounds. So what's your relationship like with the faction team?
They're dope. I mean, I've known, it's always like fluctuating. Like there's people coming in and out, like in terms of team riders and people who are filming these edits. But for the most part, I've known a bunch of the people for a super long time. And yeah, the faction trips have always been like the top of my list. Like as soon as a faction trip's like being planned or being talked about, like I'm always so hyped just to try and link up with the crew and link up with the filmers and just have like a good time, because it's what makes it sick is having such a big crew at a lot of these events or a lot of these shoots that you just kind of go out and like you're going out and you're just shredding with a big squad and you don't even really think about the filming that much, and then next thing you know you got like a full edit on your hands and you got all these shots like after a week of skiing and you didn't have to like focus on it. Like it doesn't really feel like you're trying that hard, which is really sick. And for me, like a huge part of it too is the filmer Etienne Merel. He's been filming the faction edits ever since they started, and like that was one of the first. I remember the first film trip I went on was a faction edit that we filmed in La Clusaz like a long time ago, like one of the first ones. And Etienne was there. I was like 13 or 14. It was like my first ever film trip. It was like when I was still living in Europe. And I went over to France to film with them and like met. All I remember was just like going over there and skiing with like some of my biggest idols. Like Tim McChesney was there. who else was it? Tim McChesney, Corey Vanuler,
Mm,
Adam DeLorme. Like, it was just insane. Candide was there even for a couple days. Like, it was just insane being with all those guys, being like some random 14-year-old who like just got invited to go.
that's
I remember
crazy.
skipping school for it too. Like, I went just for like 4 days. I took the train over because it wasn't that far, but like I said, I was just going to like a regular school, so I just had
Yeah.
to like skip school and like do some, like, my teachers gave me homework to do and shit like on the trip. But yeah, so I think that's been dope. Just like the loyalty there, and like I love a ton of the people that
Yeah.
I've like been working with, like with the brand, and then Etienne's been like the centerpiece, I think, of a lot of these
Mm,
edits. So just linking with him and like just I feel like he's so good at what he does and makes it so fun that I'm like always so hyped to link up with the squad. But then yeah, just honestly a dope group of riders that are sponsored by fashion. So it just makes it like a dope ass time to be with them and just film. And it's sick too, like getting to do, I've done a couple power trips with them, I've done a couple street trips with them, and a couple park shoots as well. And like on every shoot the crew's like a little different, which is really fun. Like the group of riders is different,
hmm.
which also keeps it refreshing. And just learning, also like learning from everyone on the team. Like everyone's got their own approach and own
Mm,
style, and it's just sick to shred with a bunch of people that I usually don't get to ski with that much because I'm spending a lot of time around either my local friends in Salt Lake or like on the when I'm competing, a lot of the international kind of guys on like the
yeah.
like competition schedule, where then linking up with these people I only get to see a couple times a year kind of opens my eyes to just ski in a different way, and I don't know, have some fun just shredding.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot, and I think, like I said, I think that group of people is really cool. They've added some players, I think, in there. And actually, let me ask you about this real quick, because I think this is like the king of gaslighting in skiing is Candide. Like he's like puts out stuff and then disappears from the world, right? And obviously not with faction anymore, but like what do you know that dude? Do you how like have you spent time with him? Like what is he actually like from someone who can have a conversation, or is a stone's throw, I guess, away from that dude? Because I feel like he gives the ski world so little, but gives them so much at the same time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know him super well. So that first trip I went on when I was like 14, he
Yeah.
was there like for a bunch of days, and I actually was like talking to him, hanging out with him. That was super dope. That was
Yeah.
like, I mean, that was a long time ago. That was
That was a while ago.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago or whatever. And then there was a couple more shoots we did in Europe like the following years, and he'd like show up for like just a couple, like a 1 or 2 days, I think, just because like faction kind of wanted him to be in the edit, but I could tell like he probably wasn't that down to be in the edit.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's a super chill dude. He's like really quiet, like super unassuming. You would never guess that like he's some big dog pro, he's just like some kind of small dude who's just chilling in the corner. But the last time, I think the last time I ever hung out with him was one of the shoots, one of the faction shoots, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And I'd heard all week that he didn't want to pull up because he was somewhere else, and like he just didn't want to really be
Yeah.
a part of, he's like his own, he wants to do like his
Yeah.
solo
Right.
projects. He didn't want to be a part of the whatever the big group edit. And but then I guess they finally whatever convinced him to come for a day, and he rolled up in a heli. He just showed up and the heli dropped him off. Or maybe the heli just like parked there for the day. It was in Verbier. We were skiing Verbier. And yeah, he showed up in a heli, skied for the day, and then dipped in a heli again. It was like the craziest thing. It was so funny.
Dude, he's fucking Batman. He's literally Batman. It's hilarious. I can't get over this dude, and like how there's a few people like this that are in the industry that like don't really give a shit about the industry. They're just there to like get what they want out of it, have a good time, and like bounce. I feel the same way about Seth Morrison now. It's like the dude just doesn't give a shit. Like you could ask him to do interviews all day until you're blue in the face, and he'll basically, if you get an answer at all, he'll be like, "I'm all right. Like I'm good. I don't really need to talk about anything."
Yeah, no, I that's definitely how Candide is too. And yeah, I haven't seen him since he flew away in the heli, so or talked to him either. But no, every time I talked to him, he was great. He was a super chill guy. So
I love that.
but I think he definitely, yeah, he's I think he like puts off the persona of like not caring and like
Yeah.
whatever, like he's like above and beyond what the ski industry in some ways, but in like all reality, he wouldn't be filming all these insane edits and like still doing it at the age that he is if he didn't
Right.
like care to some extent about the ski industry and like having his place in the ski world. And obviously I'm sure there's money that comes along with it. I'm sure he gets paid to whatever make these edits
Yeah.
and whatnot. But like he's mad passionate, and I don't think he's like, despite acting too cool, I think he really like loves it, and he isn't
Yeah.
like too cool in some ways.
Yeah. I'm sure. And like we can all speculate and do all this stuff, but like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
like, I respect the shit out of that. Like, I'd actually really like to be like that in my own life. Just be like, you know what? It is what it is. Here's life. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, it is what it is, right? And you love what you love, and you don't have to worry about it. The original puffy blanket. Rumpel is a sponsor of the Out of Bounds podcast, and they have the best blankets on planet Earth. They have the Nano Puff. Ethan, stop changing the stuff. They have a sale going on. We're trying to tell people about the sale. They have the Nanoloft Puffy, Nanoloft Flame, Nanoloft Travel. They have the original Puffy blanket, and they make some amazing towels. Honestly, they make so much cool stuff. I never thought that I needed a Rumble product in my life before working with these people, but like now, no matter what, like moving forward, I will have a Rumble on me at all times for the rest of my existence. Okay. It's just, you just have to, like, it's almost a mandatory thing. And obviously they make a bunch of amazing colors, styles, etc., etc. I'm a huge fan of the stuff, and we've talked about it about a million times, and I could not be. Oh, the Carhartt collab. I actually bought one of these. Did I tell you guys that? Bought one of these Carhartt collabs. They're super dope. But anyway, the point of this is today is the start of the Rumpel winter sale, and everything's on sale at rumple.com. So go to rumble.com, buy yourself a new blanket, buy a loved one a gift, buy them a gift that they wouldn't necessarily buy for themselves, like, because they're whatever, that's the best kind of gift. It's like, look at this thing. Look at how dope this Carhartt Cypress orange colorway is. So go to rumple.com, hit up the gear sale, and you can tell them I sent you if you want, or not, whatever. Woodchuck is a sponsor of the Out of Bounds podcast and has been for quite some time. I'm super grateful to have people like Woodchuck in my life. They are the original American hard cider. For all you gluten-free kids out there, this is your move. This stuff is great. It's not too sweet. They've like re-engineered some of the product that's out there, and it's just excellent. So straight out of Vermont too, I might add. Vermont people, New England people, Vermont. Like, support a Vermont company. It's really as simple as that. They also have an awesome cidery in Vermont that you should check out. Can I say Vermont anymore? They also have a guide on their website. They also ship directly to your door in some states. So you can go to woodchuck.com, use promo code OOBPOD25 to get 25% off of shipping. Shipping's expensive on alcohol sometimes. So is that not the code?
OOBPOD 2022.
Oh, God, that's a lot of numbers. OOB Pod 2022. Was that it? For 25% off of shipping. Okay. We're working the code thing out. We're gonna work on that a little bit. I think it's maybe a little numbery for where we're at today. But the point is go to woodchuck.com, get some of the variety packs that exist, because those things are awesome. They include things like amber, guava nuther, Prosecco, and sangria all in one kit. They make a bunch of different variety packs, but check that stuff out, and they'll ship to basically every state. They have a whole list of where stuff is available. So check that stuff out, woodchuck.com. Back to the episode we go, and goodbye. On the other hand, like you're working to this point in your career, and you're getting this point, like, especially like, let me back up a little bit and let me ask you, like, what was winning gold like? What was your, like, how did you feel in the months after that? Like, we're looking at things like, you're at the ESPYs. You are doing a fucking Movado commercial the other day. I saw it. Like, it's like you're doing cool shit, man. Like, what has it been like, kind of feeling the ripple effects of winning gold?
It was dope. I mean, it's honestly been pretty low key, which has been sick. Like, pretty mellow.
Yeah.
Except like some of those things were kind of like out of the blue, but for the most part, honestly, pretty mellow, which I'm hyped on. Like, not blowing it out of proportion or anything, but the moment was, it was super dope. The whole Olympic leading up to the Olympics was definitely kind of aggro with all the comps and just kind of stressful. But once we finally got there, just like with the crew we had, it was super dope. Like just hanging with Mac, Nick, and Colby, like
Yeah.
a lot, because we honestly weren't allowed to do anything else. So we were just
Right.
chilling, like the four of us the whole time. And we were over there for like 3 full weeks. So we were over there for a long time and like pretty confined. So just hanging with those boys and honestly enjoying our time over there despite all the conditions. And that just kept it super fun. And like, I don't know, Big Air was a little bit of a letdown. Just, I fucked up my final jump and it kind of like it could have been a whatever, who knows, it could or could not have been a medal if I landed that last jump. So that kind of was weighing on me for a little bit, but then just kind of moving, like switching gears and getting stoked on slopestyle was super fun. And the course was really, really tough, which I think made it more rewarding in the end to land a really clean run and something I was really proud of. And doing the tricks that I wanted to do and approaching the course in a way that I would be stoked on and I had fun doing was like the most rewarding part of winning a medal, not actually like with just winning the medal, but doing it how I wanted to do it and just having fun along the way.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was sick. That day was super dope. Like just landing that run was like really, I don't know, really rewarding. And then having all the homies at the bottom to like celebrate with in the moment was sick. Just all the boys were down there. And then everything after that, the medal ceremony, that was all pretty like unreal. And like doing media for like 24 hours straight kind of was pretty insane. But then it was sick, like just super hectic. And then it was honestly pretty like quiet and pretty mellow after that. And just got to go back home a couple days later, like decompress, just hang out. Like my family was actually in Utah then. So I got to hang out with them a bunch and just see like a bunch of my homies from Salt Lake who I hadn't seen all year because we were traveling so much.
Right.
So just kept it low key and just kept skiing honestly, because I know like the thing that a lot of people talk about is like the post Olympic depression and all that, where people kind of like have an identity crisis after the Olympics, which is I could like completely see how that would happen, because it's like this one moment that you hear about for years on end is leading up to this one moment, and then finally it's behind you. So you're like, oh, what do I do now? Which I never really had that feeling too much, which was actually kind of a relief.
Yeah.
But I definitely told myself that I would stay busy after the Olympics just so like I wouldn't fall into like a situation like that. So yeah, I just kept skiing and actually like went out to Denver. I got back, I was home for like 3 days, and then I went out to Denver because it snowed out there, and we like just started hitting some street and stuff.
Yeah.
And like just got right back into filming, which was sick. But yeah, not it was honestly, it hasn't been too much like the psycho media stuff that like I didn't go on like the Tonight Show or whatever the show is they go on and like the late night show. So none of that stuff. But yeah, there's definitely been a couple things that like trickle through.
Yeah.
Ever since then, like going to ESPYs was super cool, and just whatever, being around a bunch of big dogs was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of people who are actually famous, not like us, So that was like kind of cool. It was just fun to experience a couple things that maybe wouldn't happen if I like hadn't gotten an Olympic medal, but it hasn't like changed anything to a point where like it's made it like less fun or changed my life to where like it to a point where like I wouldn't want it to be. So
Yeah.
it's been like a pretty cool kind of happy medium, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be a bit of a weird experience too, especially like you talk about like meeting some of the big dogs in the world. Like what is that like? I mean, even at the Olympic level, right? Like talking about some of these other Winter Olympic athletes, like, is there somebody that you met or you got to hang out with or you got to spend time with while you're in that bubble that you were like, oh, this is kind of fucking cool?
No one, honestly, like no one that I was like, damn, this is insane, like with how maybe famous they were, any of that stuff. But it was really sick just hanging out with a bunch of athletes from different countries at the Olympics and like talking to them about their sport and like what they've done growing up or what they've gone through to get to where they are now. And it was dope, especially like there was a couple different Olympic villages, and the first one we were at was the one down in Beijing where we had Big Air, and we were the only kind of like snow sport down there. All the other sports were like ice hockey and ice skating and like a bunch of that sort of stuff. So it was a bunch of athletes that we would like never be around.
Right.
So it was super cool to just like meet a bunch of these people and talk to them about their sports. And we actually got to go and watch like a bunch of different events, like some speed skating, some ice hockey, some curling, which was super dope. Like just random shit that I would like, I don't even watch that stuff on TV, but it's
Right.
sick when you're in person and like you get to, and like it's dope because we'd like meet people in the cafeteria, talk to them, like chat with them, whatever, not super long, maybe a couple minutes or 20 minutes. And then like we actually know someone in the event we're watching in person, which is
Right.
dope. So we like are cheering for them, regardless of, honestly, it didn't even matter whether they were like from the US or from some other country.
Right.
Like we were just hyped for like whoever we'd met that day or earlier that day,
Right.
which was like super fun. And going there like with the boys and just cheering people on was pretty sick. But yeah, like at a thing like the ESPYs, it was definitely mad different. Like you could just tell like the scale is like a whole different scale because everyone's just so famous and so rich, and it's just like not what skiing is. But honestly, it's a sigh of relief because I see that shit and I'm just like, damn, that'd be cool for like 2 days, and then I would be pretty over it, I think.
Yeah, that seems stressful. Like that lifestyle seems exhausting.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Like we went, I was like, my girlfriend got to come with me as like a plus one to the ESPYs,
Yeah.
which was super dope. And whatever, like we went to the ESPYs and that was like pretty crazy. And like there was a bunch of basketball players and famous people there. And then we went to this after party. It was like LeBron James. I forget what the company's called, but it was like hosted by LeBron James. We went to this after party and like there was like all these insanely famous people there. But it seemed mad annoying because they're always, despite this, like it being a private party or whatever, there were still so many people who were just like there with phones filming them and like trying to get photos. And like I was like, damn, that would suck. Like even at a private party, you can't even like just enjoy chilling for a sec. So it was definitely pretty. I like Odell Beckham Jr. was there and he was getting like just harassed by people. I was like, fuck, that's heavy.
That poor guy. Yeah, it's got to also like inflate your ego like crazy too. Like to just be around that and people just pestering you all the time. It's got to do a thing to your head, man.
For sure, I think for sure. But also it was insane meeting like some people that were like super down to earth,
Yeah.
but like also pretty famous was really cool. So I feel like you gain a ton of respect for them because you realize like what they're going through, and to still then act pretty, I guess what you could, I don't know if normal's the right word, but humble or whatever is like pretty crazy after what they're going through on like maybe not a daily, but like pretty regularly, you know?
Yeah. Let me kind of bring it back a little bit to skiing. Is there a thing in skiing, or is there a person in skiing that you're like, I like the way this career trajectory is going? Like I like what they're doing a lot. Like I take influence from these types of people.
Yeah, there's honestly like a ton. I feel like I get inspiration from a ton of different people, but like one of the main ones that I always think of is just like Henrik Harlow.
Yeah.
I feel like he's done so much for the sport and had such a big influence on so many just, I think, professional riders, but also just, anyone in the sport, whether you're a beginner or a top level guy. I think there's so many ways that Henrik's just inspired people through either his approach to skiing or what he does in skiing or just his attitude that are super dope. And I think just like what he's done in his career, from winning pretty much every event you can think of
Right.
to then filming like the best video parts you've ever seen. Like all that is mad inspirational, and how long he's been doing it for. And now he's whatever, I think he's 30 or 31, still doing it, like just got an Olympic medal. And he's like still going strong, still loves it. Like I think the passion that he has for skiing is what's so inspirational. Like just seeing how much he loves it is so sick. And he's been doing it for like 15 or 10 or 15 years professionally. And he's like still this hyped to go out and ski like a tiny PVC rail, like preseason with like some snow that he got from an ice rink. Like that's shit I used to do when I was like 15.
Yeah.
Like growing up. But like that's so dope, is like the passion. And then another person is just like Tom Wallish is just, I don't know, he's just the GOAT kind of. So I look up to him a lot and just look what he's done. And he's such a homie. He's helped me out a lot with just like, I don't know, just chatting with him, talking about career decisions or wherever, just life in general and stuff. Like Tom's helped me a bunch. So that's been super dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, those people like draw a ton of inspiration from them in terms of, I don't know, I guess if you could say like a blueprint for like what is, I think is like a really sick career path.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bunch of like even, people that aren't pros, like or just skiing for fun, like just my homies I ski with in Salt Lake, or homies I ski with back in Switzerland, like just the more regular kind of, not the necessarily the mega pro lifestyle, like that is also super inspirational. I think there's a lot of points you can take from them, like people like them, and just learning from just more the regular, I guess I would say, I don't know if that's the right word, but
Right.
not the pro skier lifestyle, because there's a lot to life other than being a pro skier, so
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that stuff is really cool for people to kind of hear too. And like, because I think we put like pro athletes, including yourself, like on this pedestal sometimes, where you're like, they're different than me. Like they live this different existence, and like they're not real people, right? So I think it's funny to see people separate that stuff, and then like obviously that's not the case. Like everybody's a real person, and like you're having these conversations,
totally.
and like it brings you really down to earth. But I think it's important for people to like actually realize kind of the humanity of it. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, like the people that you have fun with and the people that you look up to are not necessarily going to be pros. They're going to be people that like you actually feel a connection with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Speaking of Tom, by the way, I was kind of like bopping around last night on the internet, and I found the X Games video, you hitting a 2160, and then just listening to Tom's reaction, I think when you actually stomped it was probably the best part of the whole thing. What is, like, first of all, what is going into your head as you're about to do something like that? And then do you feel the energy from the crowd? Do you feel what's going on around you when you're in that comp setting?
Yeah, I mean, X Games Bay Area is a sick one because the crowd's always so hyped, and it's a night event. So I feel like that's like the one event where you get like the most stoked from the crowd, more so than Slope or any of the other ones, or obviously any of the World Cups, like just because the crowd's right there, and like you catch the sled right in front of the crowd every time. So you definitely feed off the crowd a lot. But I don't know, I honestly wasn't thinking too much before that. Like I came into that evening telling myself like I would do like these two specific tricks for the comp that I really wanted to do, and I ended up doing those in my first two tries. And since it was a jam format, we had like 4 more hits, and I was like, fuck, what do I do now? and so I kind of just was like, all right, I guess, like, and I was watching the rest of the guys in the field go absolutely insane. Like they were throwing the craziest things. And so I was like, damn, I guess I'll join in and just kind of start chucking pretty hard.
Had you landed that to snow before?
No, I had never done it in any sort of situation before. So I was kind of just a Hail Mary, but honestly, I didn't think much. Like I just got to the top, and like my coach Dave, who's the US team coach, I wouldn't call him a coach, he's just a homie.
Yeah.
Like I don't really consider coaches like, as long as they're just like my homies at the top of the drop in, that's what you're looking for. But I was just got to the top, and I was like, yo, Dave, like, what do you think? 21 would be kind of funny. Or it was something along those lines of just like like obviously I wanted to try and win the event. That's why I did it. But also I was like, it'd be kind of jokes to like try it in a way. But also I had like this crazy mix of emotions, because that night before the event, I told myself I wasn't gonna just like try and spin to win, and then I ended up doing that. So I kind of like broke my morals in the moment, which I was like super stoked to do it. Like when I landed, I was like, damn, that was sick that I just like survived trying this.
Yeah.
But also bummed at the same time, because I was like, fuck, like I didn't want to just spin to win this comp. I wanted to like try and do these other tricks to win it, which like, so I was in this like moral combat while doing it, while also like trying to do this trick. But honestly, like, I didn't think about much, like especially with the 21. I just was like, all right, like you're gonna drop in and you literally have to set it as hard as you can, and just don't even think about it. Like that's with the really big tricks, I tell myself not to think about it, because I'll start overthinking a trick and trying to like break it down too much, where like you kind of just got to rely on your muscle memory of like what you've done before and just kind of build off that. So I was just telling myself, like, don't overthink it. Just like set it really hard and just like hope it goes well. And then the video is actually mad funny, because you can tell like I land, and like first sec I was pretty stoked, and then I'm like, the camera's on me, and I'm just like, I have this face, and you can tell I'm just like,
I saw it.
I'm kind of like bummed at myself for doing it. And it was like, it was still like, I'm not going to downplay. Like I was hyped to land it, and it was dope to do a trick like that and like ride away from a clean, whatever. And, you know, like do well at the event on top of that was sick. But at the same time, like being bummed was a really weird feeling. And like whenever like I get compliments from like if like a kid DMs me and is like, dude, your 21 was so dope X Games. Like I look up to you. I'm always like, damn, that's sick. Like that they're stoked on skiing and they look up to me, but I wish they looked up to me like not just for my 21. Like that was like one of the wackest things I've done.
That's
But like
crazy.
it's also not that way. It's hard, but pretty much I was it was a cool moment, but I had a little bit of a head case after. I was like, fuck, why'd I do that?
That's hilarious. Like it's funny to be in a comp scene. I guess that's what just makes you different. But like that's a really interesting way to look at what you just did. Is like, oh, I'm not being true to myself, but it's also like I have the ability to just fucking do this thing. Because like you landed, that was one of the most impressive things to me was like how smooth you landed it. Switch was ridiculous. Like it looked like it's something that you had done 100 times.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, I was super hyped, and I appreciate that. I was stoked on like landing it clean.
Yeah,
but I think there was like some luck involved too, for sure. Like it kind of just worked out, you know.
I guess.
But I think like just it was just a accumulate. Like I'd done tricks that weren't obviously that trick, but like similar, like switch 18s and stuff that are in a way pretty similar. So I think just like I wasn't super surprised to land it, but like a little. But just at a certain point, like you do what I call like the building blocks or like the lead up tricks to bigger tricks so much that like even if you've never done a trick, like you feel pretty confident you can actually do it just kind of first try if you really want, like in a comp scenario, like with the adrenaline and the right jump and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it like kind of pans out. But then like I tried at the Olympics and I didn't land it. So like, you know, similar.
And then you're pissed. Yeah.
And then I was like mad that I didn't land it, but then I've had this whole like I've been like it's pretty funny talking about these crazy because like you gotta like what we were always saying, like the joke between like the homies on the team is like if you can't beat him, join him kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's like you're not really gonna win a comp unless you're doing something that's insane. So like you kind of it's either you try this insane shit in a comp and you do well, or you might as well just not compete if you're not gonna like try and push yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, but like, do you want to push yourself or you're skiing in that direction because like, are you stoked on that direction? And it's definitely like this tough middle ground where you want to try and have both aspects of being stoked on what you're doing and also like trying the hardest, most technical thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the evening after like winning that medal, it was like we were on insane COVID protocol because it was right before the Olympics. So like we couldn't do anything. And it was just Mac and I in an apartment. And like, it was like the night after Big Air, and you think you'd be like, you'd be at some insane party somewhere.
Yeah.
Partying, you're like just going crazy. And it's just like the two of us in the living room, like making dinner, going to bed because we had slopestyle the next day. And I was just remember being like, I was like, damn, I don't think I've ever been this bummed to win a comp. Like that's the feeling I had, which was like really weird. It was like a weird position to be in, to be like not super ecstatic about doing something that like was, you know, really impressive and that you're like stoked or not stoked to do. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But yeah, either way, it was dope. I was stoked that it worked out.
Dude, I'm so confused. Whether you're happy about it or you're upset about it.
Trust me, I am too. I still don't know if I'm happy or sad about doing that trick.
It's kind of fucked though. Like you're right. It is for a long time. It's not like a new thing that it's been spin to win. You know what I mean? Like you can do, and Henrik's kind of probably one of the exceptions pretty often where like he's doing this other shit and he's kind of getting away with it, but like not getting away with it's the wrong way to say it, but like, you know what I mean? It's crazy and a little disappointing sometimes that it is like how many spins you can do. And even like Tom, right? Like Tom is the pro on the mic. Like he's like slowing it down and counting every spin to try to understand what's going on. And you wonder like, does that make it almost unwatchable for people at home watching it on the TV? It's like, cause you don't even understand what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm at these big air events sometimes and I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm watching these events and there's a lot of times where I can't distinguish between whether it's a 14 or an 18 or a 19 or like I'm up there and I'm like, dude, I literally do this and I don't know what he just did.
Right.
Like I need a replay to understand what he just, you know what I mean? So definitely it's definitely a tough thing that like everyone's been talking about in skiing, especially with big air, I think,
Yeah.
because everyone's so good. But then the counter argument is like everyone's just trying to, or everyone's trying to, push themselves to their limits. So you can't really reward something where someone's not trying something crazy
Yeah.
because everyone else is trying to do something that's really crazy and doing their hardest trick. So that it's just hard because it's if you don't reward things on technical like
Right.
difficulty in competitions and you go more towards whatever style is because style is so like subjective
Totally.
that it's just you kind of have to judge comps off technical level.
Yeah.
And that's like the beauty but also the shitty part about events.
Yeah.
That's why it's become spin to win because ultimately I'm more dangerous and harder to land when you spin more. But yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer about the big airs nowadays, especially is just how crazy they are. And it's sick to see everyone that riding so well, but it's also just I know it's tough for the general audience to watch because like I said, I mean my parents been watching me compete for years now and they have no fucking clue what's going on.
Right.
Like they don't know what tricks I'm doing. Like my mom's gotten pretty good, but like she can like kind of guess what trick it is, but like if they can't do it, like how is my grandma who watches it like once a year gonna understand
Right.
like what's going on? So
Right.
definitely a little bit of I don't know, pickle we're in right now, but maybe something will change in the near future.
Maybe I think part of it's the judging too, like what they reward, like the type of shit that they reward too, because like the
Yeah, for
things that
sure.
people get the most hyped on are not necessarily the things that get you the highest score. But I mean, dude, it's like this in every sport though, right? It's like in basketball, it's like flopping, right? Flopping gets you to the fucking line and you can shoot your free throws, but like it doesn't really like everybody hates to watch it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, exactly.
it's a bummer. There's shit like this literally in every sport, and I think this is the comp scene in skiing is that thing where you have to have structure in order for it to be a competition, but like
Mm-hmm.
it also limits the creativity of the athlete in a lot of ways. And I think Freeride World Tour is really cool because like it's very open, right? Like you can do what's in front of you and it's still comp format, but the judging is really fucking difficult. The conditions are the worst part. And like you're
Yeah,
getting what you get. And it's like, what side of the coin do you want to be on? And
totally.
how do you like feed off of each other, like on both sides of that and kind of make it merge into this one thing?
Yeah, and also like what I always say or what I always think about like when I see people who are like really bummed on what's going on, at least like within the group of skiers that are doing the events, like when I see people that are really bummed on what's going on in the event is like a certain point, if you're not down to try and do these insane tricks or you're not down with the direction, like it is really is a bummer for the like maybe the sport or where it's heading. But like from a personal standpoint, you can choose to if you're not vibing, like that's the beauty of our sport.
Right.
That's what's so epic about skiing, the fact that we can go film or create a video part for the internet and not worry about the competitive thing. And that's the best part about a video is you can give less fucks what like no one's judging your video. Like ultimately, yeah, maybe a viewer is judging it in some sort of way, like once you
Yeah,
post it, but
whatever.
like
Yeah.
you can still do exactly what you want, which is like the sickest part. So like if I were that bummed on comps, I just wouldn't do them. I would stop competing. But there's still like a part of me
Right.
that loves them a ton. And like even though the progression's insane and these bigger comps are so crazy with the spin to win, like there's still a part of me that like loves doing it. Like it's sick to just go out in front of a huge crowd and just like chuck some meat with the boys and like see what happens. So
Yeah.
it's like it's I don't know, it's shitty but still like really dope and it's fun to like do every now and then. Like
Yeah.
I'm only down to do like a couple big airs a year, but they're
Yeah.
mad fun still.
Yeah, I guess that's what makes it fun too. Is like you can do it in a limited dose, and it's a good time. Like that kind of puts you in a different lane.
Exactly. Like if I had to go do a bigger comp every week and I'd be like, all right, fuck this. But like,
Yeah,
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 every now and then it's sick.
yeah, for sure. Do you foresee that in like the near future being a thing that you're like, okay, like I'm just gonna move strictly to like filming, going in the backcountry? Like again, we talked about this, but it's like Sammy Carlson is probably the example that like rings most true in my head, and obviously Tanner, and obviously a million people have done this, where like they go from skiing park and comp and whatever, and then they just become like behemoths in the backcountry. Like they become these like icons of the sport because they're in the backcountry too. where, like, is that a thing that is of interest to you? Like, obviously, like dabbling in a little bit right now, and we've talked about this already, but like dabbling seems like it's a really effective method for you to keep things fresh. But has that been a thought, like pushing more into that side of things?
For sure. I mean, I love skiing POW. It's so damn fun.
Yeah.
But I've thought about it, and like I think I respect it so much. Like watching someone like Sammy like
Yeah.
switch from comps and just become like the POW beast that he is and just dominate
Yeah.
is like super dope. But I don't know. I'm taking just for now, like for sure at some point in the future it'd be sick to go focus like a lot more on backcountry and just like try and film some really like just push my own limits in the backcountry. Like that would be really fun. But I don't know, just like one season at a time for now. I think like I'm still pretty hyped on doing some comps and like especially slopestyle. I think there's still a ton of room there to like for me to push my own skiing and just like have a good time. And like street skiing right now, I've been super hyped on just skiing street, which has been really fun. And I have a lot of homies that are really stoked on it. So we got a good crew just like trying to go out and get clips, which is sick. But yeah, it's at some point I think for sure try and film more POW. I always just tell myself like I'm gonna do whatever seems like it's gonna be the most enjoyable, and I'm sure at some point like the comps are gonna wear out on me, and I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm not that down to travel to this place to potentially go chuck tricks in some weather that might be like pretty mediocre. So it's definitely a step that like I mean it's like you said that's why it's such a whatever blueprint for a career the way everyone does it, because it's at a certain point I think people just like you kind of just phase out of competing and you're like word like I really want to go push my limits in like a different form kind of and like see how far I can take my skiing outside of like a competitive environment. Because in a lot of ways I think you can push your skiing more outside of competition because you have more attempts and more factors to work with. But POW is sick. Hopefully I'll do a couple POW trips this year.
Yeah, I love that. All right, last thing I'm going to ask you, and then I'll let you get out of here. I know it's getting late over there. Kids that are watching you, looking up to you, and kind of putting you on this level for them as somebody that they look up to. What do you say to kids like that are like trying to make it in skiing, that are trying to make skiing this thing that they pursue? Like, we talked about it a little bit earlier, where like the blueprint to becoming a pro and to be like getting into these comps is totally different now, and it's almost like scripted. What kinds of things do you tell them if they're looking to get more into like the professional skiing side of things? Because I think it's all over the place right now. Like you have people that just put out films and they become a pro by like just putting out clips on Instagram, and like that's cool too. And then there's people that like go the comp scene route, and it's also different, and it's honestly kind of confusing, I feel like, if you're looking at it from the outside. So what kind of advice, I guess, do you have to those people?
Yeah, I think I've actually like thought about this a bunch. I was like, damn, what would I like if I was 14 now, how would I approach it? Like in this day and age where like you said, the comp scene is pretty different and just with social media and all that stuff. And I think the biggest part, like now that I'm like have been in the industry for a while, is realizing that the way that you're going to become the most successful, let's say in your ski career, is by not like following what you think is the right way. Like you see maybe like your friend or some kid your age on the internet that's insanely good doing these comps, doing this specific thing. Like that might not be the way that you're going to become the best skier that you can become. So if like you see some Euro kid who's 12 and doing insane tricks and doing all these comps, winning comps, and you're 12 and you're in the Midwest somewhere in the US and like you're mad good or whatever, you're working on your rail game, you don't necessarily need to move to Europe or whatever and do all these complex. I think you can find your own route. And I think as a sponsor, if I was a sponsor, like obviously I don't know, like I'm not a TM or anything, but like if I was a sponsor, I like the thing that I would see the most valuable in sponsoring an athlete is like if they can identify with their image and like not try and be someone who they really aren't. Like that's who you want to sponsor. That's who's going to be the most authentic. And like, that's who younger kids are then going to look up to when they become older, is someone who like is doing exactly what they want to do. And whether that's competing or, skiing rails in a park for Instagram or like filming POW or street, like, especially with the era we're in now with social media and the internet and it being so accessible for everyone, I think like there's all these different routes you can take. Like, for example, Cole Richardson, skier Cole is like this Canadian skier who's,
Yeah, he rips.
I don't know, he's maybe, yeah, he's so sick. He's like 20, I don't know, he's like 20, 21. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I was hanging with him this summer and like, instead of doing like the traditional comp route, like he's out there like stacking, you know, POW footy at a young age. And like he's got insane video segments, dope sponsors. Like he's traveling a bunch and like doing a completely different route than like what honestly a lot of kids are doing nowadays, which is the more traditional comp route.
Yeah.
And then even like maybe a less glorified form of, I don't even know what you want to define as a pro skier, but I think like I respect a lot of my homies from Salt Lake who've like now taken more like the core street skiing approach so much, because I think it's so dope that they're just kind of sticking to their lane and sticking to like what they truly enjoy. And like all the like the homies from the child labor crew is like a lot of those kids is like who I went to school with. And like I grew up with a bunch of those kids like after moving to the US, and just seeing them like do their own shit now, and it's so sick and so impressive, and seeing like the respect that they're getting right now is so sick. And even though it like took a couple years maybe to like come to fruition, like this sort of the stamp they're putting on the free ski scene, I think like they took their time and they didn't drift out of their lane, and that's why their product now, like what they're putting out to the ski industry, is so perfect and so, I don't know, unique to them. That I think I don't know, that's like super respectable. And yeah, pretty much the main advice would be like, don't look at anyone else for the perfect blueprint, because there is none. Like different things work for different people, so do whatever works best for you. And just the only way you're gonna get better at skiing and go anywhere in skiing is if you're enjoying it. And it's so corny to say that, but like as long as you're enjoying it, that's how you're gonna find the best route. And I hate saying that, but it's so true.
It's so true, 100%. Like as soon as you start hating it, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like it's not a sport, and like I talk about this with people all the time. It's not a sport that you're like trying to get rich in, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
so there's no point in trying to get rich in it.
Yeah, just fucking do what you want to do and like make it to the best that you can, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it is corny to say, but it's also like it's so true. Like there's nothing else. There's no other way about it. It's like that is the reality of the situation, and maybe it's not corny because people still don't fucking do it, you know? So like it's like we say it all the time, but people still don't listen.
Yeah, exactly.
So, cool. All right, dude. We did it. This is it. Where can people find you on the internet? Where can people, if they want to slide into your DMs, where can they find you? That's basically it.
Yeah, just got the Insta, I guess. Alex Hall Skiing. Not on the TikTok. I don't run that too hard. I try and not be on my phone too crazy much. I feel like Insta really sucks up a lot of my time. So mainly just the gram, and then got the YouTube channel, Alex Hall. Just posting my longer edits on there if you want to check any of that stuff out. That's the stuff I'm really proud of. It's the stuff on the Instagram, or on the YouTube, sorry. Or check out the Magmas. Those are good. Those will give you a nice idea of what free skiing is all about.
For sure. Sick. All right, buddy.